Good afternoon, St. Louis, Missouri, on a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Oh my God, beautiful in the neighborhood. Chicago, Illinois, Denver, Colorado, Moscow, Russia. Some bikes going down the street. Scott's favorite noise to hear. Rome, Italy, Dallas, Texas, Indianapolis, Indiana, Kansas, Pittsburgh, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Puerto Rico, Los Angeles, California, Portland, Oregon, London, England, Dubai, the United Arabs, and Miami Beach, Florida, and Kansas City, Missouri, home of the National Negro League Baseball Museum. And on that note, I said, welcome to lunch with the Missouri team coming on a beautiful, beautiful Saturday afternoon, September 24th, 2022. My name is Al Coach, your host and creator, along with Reverend Elder Alden Loud. How you doing, Red?
Fine.
Your voice is strong. How's the family?
Fine.
And how's that choir director doing?
Oh, he's doing wonderful.
Yes, still lighting up, huh?
Yeah, he's something else.
Okay, and Scott Owens, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm too blessed to be distressed.
Well, Scott, I will be remiss, okay, if I didn't tell everyone congratulations to you on passing your real estate test this week.
Thank you very much.
As you go into a whole new profession, so to speak, in real estate. And I know that's going to be very interesting. My wife is a realtor, been around doing this for over 20-some years, you know, and it's always interesting you get a deal, how the deal works, okay?
There you go.
And we are broadcasting live on Ferguson, USA, Ontario, on beautiful Woodland Terrace, St. Louis County, St. Louis City, North St. Louis, and also on Missouri, in beautiful state of Missouri. And right now, we're going to have our prayer with Elder Alden Loud, pastor of the Waterloo Bible Church, located at 55 West Lily Avenue, that's in North St. Louis, that's 63120. Prayer with Alden Loud. Also, we're teaching with Elder Alden Loud, pastor of the Waterloo Bible Church, located at 5547 Avenue in North St. Louis, 63120. So again, the word you hear next will be his voice. So the Alden Loud, he's the pastor of the Waterloo Bible Church, located at 5547 Avenue. That's in North St. Louis. That's 3120. Rev. Elder Loud. How are you doing, sir?
Fine. Bow our heads.
Yes, sir.
Heavenly Father, we continue to thank you for a wonderful gospel. How that Christ died for our sin, was buried, and rose again. I continue believing to the saving of the soul, continues to make heaven your home before you sleep and after you sleep. Heavenly Father, we thank you we're already seated in heavenly places in Christ Jesus. Heavenly Father, we know our name is already written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless the sick all over the universe. You know what to do, Heavenly Father. We just ask you to bless them in Jesus' most precious name, and that the gospel go forth today, that souls get saved before it's ever too late. Amen.
Well, Rev, we're going to thank you for that beautiful prayer, because right now, souls need to be brought to God. And here we have, not always a prayer that you give us, but in addition to that, we have a teaching also that you give every Saturday. So this Saturday, you're going to be expounding upon that. Am I right, Rev?
Amen.
So, needless said, what you got for us?
We're going to start off with the first book, Genesis.
Oh, wow.
Genesis,
Okay.
the first chapter, and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
And start where sin started in the universe in this chapter. And this is why Genesis 1 and verse 2 says, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, the reason why this was going on, we go to Isaiah 14. And this was a war going on in heaven at this time. That's why you had the catastrophe like that. And then verse 12 and 14 said, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the Lord. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to the hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee should narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? All the kings of the nation, even all of them, lie in glory, everyone in his own house. But thou art cast out thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under feet. And now we're going to go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, the 4th chapter, brings something out about what relate to Genesis 1 and verse 2. And Jeremiah, the 4th chapter, verse 23 said.
Okay, now, Rev, let me ask you a question. That's for the sake of conversation for teaching today. Who is Jeremiah in the Bible?
Jeremiah is a prophet. He one of the minor prophets of God.
Okay.
And he's see, God had evangelists. The day God got evangelists, pastors, and teachers. But in BC, he had prophets, apostles and prophets. Mm-hmm. They was on the scene and passing his word on the priests. Yeah. But this day and time now, you got evangelists, pastors, and teachers.
Okay.
And verse 23 said, behold the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heavens were fled. I beheld, and lo, the fruit place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord and by his fierce anger. Now I'm going on up to Revelation 12 and verse 7. Revelation 12 and verse 7 says this, and there was a war in heaven. That's why the world was in void and form, and the angels were super ruling the earth at this time. Not man, but the angels. Okay. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Yeah. Now I'm going to Revelation 2, the second chapter of Revelation 2, verse 9. 10 and 13. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye should have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful, and unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. I know thy works, and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is, and thou holdest fast my name, and hast not denied my faith, even in those days wherein Antipas was my faithful martyr, who was slain among you where Satan dwelled. Now, Revelation 24 Now, verse 24 in Revelation. But unto you I say,
What chapter?
I'm still in chapter 2, and verse 24. And 24 said, but unto you I say, and unto the rest in Thyatira, as many as have not this doctrine, and which have not known the depths of Satan, as they speak, I will put upon you none of the burden. 9. Revelation 20:10. Most of them bringing out that the reason why the earth was then formed and darkened and a catastrophe happened because it's talking about the weakness of Satan. That's where sin started in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And Genesis 3:1, I'll tell you about. It goes back to bring you to Adam. Genesis 3:21 and Genesis 3 and verse 1 brings you to what happened to Eve, that she was deceived by this subtle beast, which was Satan, a serpent. It said now, chapter 3 of Genesis and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, had God said, ye should not eat of every tree of the garden. That was 3:1 in Genesis. Now we go back to Jude 9, the book of Jude. And verse 9 said, yet Michael and the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke thee. See, now we go kind of elaborate on what we went through. Now, see, Satan is the one that caused all the chaos in the universe. And people they don't believe it's a devil because they think he in a red suit with some horns and a long tail and stuff. But the devil is the most beautiful angel that ever was. Because the reason why he was the most beautiful angel ever was, look at Ezekiel 28. And it'll give you a description of Satan. Ezekiel, the 28th chapter of Ezekiel. Write it down, people, so you can go back and read it later. And verse 12. And it's talking about the same king in Isaiah 14. The rebuke of the king of Tyre. Verse 12. And Ezekiel 28. It says, son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyre, and say unto him, thus said the Lord God, thou sealest up the Psalms, full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty. Now this perfect in beauty, one time out that he couldn't sin. This perfect right here is talking about that he was mature and an angel. He was a fallen angel. Lucifer was a fallen angel. But before he fell, his name was Lucifer. But after he fell, his name became Satan, and he was a fallen angel. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering. The sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold, the workmanship of thy tabrets, of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. Thou art the anointed cherub that cover, and I have set thee so. Thou was up on the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou was perfect in thy way from the day that thou was created, till iniquity was found in thee. And that iniquity is talking about sin. Sin was already in him. because he rebelled against God, and that's the same way Adam did. Adam rebelled against God too, because he didn't believe him. That's why when God told Adam not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, Adam willfully sinned. The woman was deceived, but did nothing happen until Adam ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And was found in thee by the multitude of thy merchandise. They have filled the midst of thee with violence. See, that's why there's so much violence out here. Violence is dealing with money and material things. Good. Money is an answer to all things, but ain't no salvation in money. Salvation is only in Jesus Christ, death, burial, and resurrection. You believe it, you pass from death into life before you sleep and after you sleep. And that makes heaven your home. And thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. This is future. This gonna happen future. When he destroyed Babylon. Babylon started off with Adam people. They all spoke one language. That's why God came down and scattered them, because they had the wrong motive. They was gonna worship Satan. They weren't worshiping God. They was worshiping Satan by building that tower. Because, see, they was building something out. God prepared blood, a sacrifice, animal sacrifice. But they was building a tower with their hand. Material stuff, what they doing now in this worldly system now. All over, they rebuild it. And ain't no salvation in it. But there's a lot of wickedness. People getting hurt. Some people that can't even get no job. And some people get the job. It's all kind of messed up stuff out here. Thy heart was lifted up because of thy brooding. Thou hast corrupt thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuary by the multitudes of thy iniquity, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. All they that know thee among the people should be astonished at thee. Thou should be a terror, and never should thou be any more. That's what's going to happen to Satan. God going to destroy him. And that's talking about his second coming. The beginning of his first coming, he coming to get the church, rapture the church out here. But at the end of the second coming, that's when he gonna come to this earth, and he gonna be in the air to get the saint, and he gonna be in the air when he destroys Satan in the throne in Babylon, where the Tower of Babel is built, where they built for the flood. They built that Tower of Babel. That's where Satan had his throne here, buying material goods. I believe that's in Paris, London. So that's...
You mean Paris, France, brother?
Mr. Scott?
Do you mean Paris, France?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
There's so many Paris now that it was a time that we got all states got Paris in different smaller cities and streets named Paris. So yeah. We thank you, okay, for that explanation, because what you did a beautiful rendition, like read a description, connecting the dots, about Satan, and right now, what you mentioned about this chaos, oh my God, is a chaos in the world. No matter where you look at it, and they call it strife, call it what you want to call it. And like I said, years ago there's a song by the Temptation called Ball of Confusion. Where right now that song would be very appropriate for where we are nowadays, because there's a ball of confusion.
Amen.
That's going through
That was about the temptation.
Yeah, the temptation, ball of confusion. And it's just amazing how those songs that were written back then, and they thought things were crazy events. Okay, but they ain't singing. Another way we're talking about songs, Marvin Gaye, song was so appropriate today. What's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on? Please tell us what's going on. But matter of fact, a lot's going on. Okay, so well, we want to thank you again for that lesson today. Thank you for the prayer, the sharing of wisdom. In today's episode, it was really kind of gave you a biblical through the Bible. Now, first, before we go any further, tell us about the Book of Jude. Okay, where's that?
The Book of Jude is right before Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
And the Book of Jude is just one. It's just one chapter in the book.
Yeah.
The Book of Jude is just one chapter, but it's got a whole lot of important information in it.
Yes, sir. So anyway, we will thank you for the clarity you brought us today about what is going on in our world. So much of that. Okay, this is the USA. HotTowerU.com in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri, and Amos County and County, and that was Scott answering the question there. That's Reb giving the lesson there. And my name is Alan, folks. And then thank you for joining us on the beautiful Saturday. I know Scott, he's down here. Welcome back to Lunch with the Real Human Conversation. We've been doing this since 2015. That's a long, long time. We can be heard on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Live every Saturday. And also, all of our shows will be repeated every Sunday at 1 p.m. And also Wednesday at 1 p.m. That's on FergusonUSA.com. And also our podcast is on Spotify, YouTube, naturally, and also on our app and all those things you can find out. Just look up Lunch with the Real Human Conversation, you'll find us. Also, we say this every Saturday, but we're going to continue to please continue to pray for the families. There are over 1 million people, Americans, I should say, who lost their lives due to COVID. And we're not going to the different areas because we continue to change every day. And now we do know that over almost matter of fact, almost 100 million people, that's a big number, 100 million people have contracted COVID-19. And nowadays, people catch it more than one time. But anytime you do that, it's spraying your body. And now we're starting to find out some of those effects on your body. So again, we actually continue to pray for that for people, and that we can kind of move forward. Also, always remember that prayers up, blessings down. For all of our members and all our listeners around the world, and thank you again for joining us. And also, we always ask you to get your booster shots for COVID-19. They got the new ones out right now. and they're very much, advanced. And while you're doing that, it's that time of year you get your flu shots also. This is going to be a crazy flu season. I just had that feeling as I'm watching weather here in St. Louis, and a lot of the hurricanes all around, so we're not sure what's going to take place with the weather. But also, we actually teach you to wash your hands. That's some basic information you learn as a kid. Wash your hands, and also when you can, please wear your face mask. I was out yesterday, and I was in the store, at the counter, and the gentleman behind the counter had his face mask kind of pulled down. He was a lady there that started coughing like crazy. Okay, and we all looked around. We all had a face mask on, and and she kept on coughing, and we all said, "Thank God when she left." Again, if you can't, social distance, because you're not sure what somebody's gonna cough, and the risk for this virus is airborne, and it will get into your system. Also, this past week, in London, England, the public funeral for Queen Elizabeth the second, for the United Kingdom, and all the other commonwealths. She ruled for over 60 years. That's a long time in history for someone to live that long. And also, there was a saying, years ago, that the sun never set, in heat on the United Kingdom, because they were all around the world. And right now, they're down to that United States was one of those commonwealths. And so now, as she celebrates those 60 years, she lived to the age of 96, a nice good old age, real true. And in her coronation, as a going home party, she had kings, queens, presidents, prime ministers, celebrities from across the globe were among the 2,000 guests. King Charles III is now the new king. And the war in Ukraine continues. Even as the Ukrainian army is taking a lot of territories back. It was formerly taken by the Russians, and they kind of did a retreat. And this is really helping the United States. They're now figuring out how to use it. And also, as the Russians retreat, they're now faced with a problem of not only trying to get new weapons, for them to fight with, but also for them to get new soldiers in the army. The draft is taking place in Russia right now, and you hear the number of 300,000 to 1 million people, million men, not men right now, just 18 to 60 years old, are being drafted, and that being drafted means you were kids, years ago, they had the draft in those days, and they had went wars. This not seem to be going over too well, because most of the air flights out of Russia right now are all full. There's millions of people leaving Russia like crazy when they can, who can afford to get out of there. And right now, even in Russia itself, there was a time that all you heard was Putin's voice, but now a lot of people now standing up to him, and not just standing up, they are now protesting the streets in some cases, and some of the elitists, oligarchs, are now speaking out against the war. They're taking a lot of families, a lot of families, and now it's starting to have effect from the embargoes that were imposed upon Russia months ago. It's starting to take effect. So, but again, this is going on, and also while this is going on, we are somewhat advanced conversation. A lot of children being tortured, young people, I should say in Ukraine, and they took territory that they found a lot of bodies, and this was a bad thing because a lot of people had been manipulated, killed, and now they have found many, many mass graves, and that is always a bad thing for anybody to have. And also, in Puerto Rico, the aftermath of the storm counter, has caused a lot of life death situations that they which another day about power and water, the needs for generators for the sick. Nearly 1.5 million customers are without power. That's a lot of people. You said 1.5 customers. That means that there are people in those homes. That multiply that by about 3 or 4 times to get the number of people affected by that. Also in the United States, the Federal Reserve Bank is to raise interest rate. Again, this is the third time this year. And also, I don't want to delve into this too much, but former President Donald Trump, legal problems are increasing every day. This week, the Attorney General in Washington, D.C., about charges. Oh my God. That's damage. They're seeking $50 million, $20,000 as settlement. And she got a 200-page indictment that dates back to 2010 and 2007 for his tax returns. And in this, he found a lot of things that, if you recall, during the presidential election, President Trump at that time refused to, submit all of his records, about his taxes and stuff like that. Which traditionally, every president has done that. And now we know why, so I'm not going to get into the details here, but a lot of things he had done. Is still accommodating lawsuits around the country. Like I said, legal troubles. We talked about it in New York. There's a Manhattan DA who's also going against him now. The Department of Justice specified documents for justice, and also in the Terrorist Insurrection Committee. I should say they're running investigations. And also just Mr. Bubbles, because someone just came in the door. And also, right now, the lady down in Georgia, he still has investigations going on also, so a lot is going on there. And also, in the Mar-a-Lago, the section master has made some changes there. And along that same line, here in the state of Missouri, especially in St. Louis County, Governor Carson, I should say, appointed a district judge. Renee Horton-Talmont has a new Court of Appeals. And I say that now because we're learning more and more about our legal system, how they're working, how they're not working. And also, in the situation with the situation with the president, former president, I should say, he asked for a special master who was appointed Judge Raymond Gary, and he has told, this is kind of interesting here, for the first time, someone has told President Trump, that time ago, President Trump, I don't have to perform this night for life. He's been telling his lawyers to put up or shut up. And also in D.C. and around the country, the rioters that were involved on the Casanova State Capitol on January 21, they are still going to jail. In Jackson, Mississippi, the water problems are improving, but not fixed. And then from an investigation into over $71 million being stolen from funds that were dedicated to the poor people there, including funds that former Mayor received. This is moving forward. And down there, the John Davis, he's the former director of the Mississippi Welfare Agency. He's only pleading guilty, so there's some more coming down there. And also, you're hearing about the migrant flights by Governor Abbott and also Governor DeSantis in Florida. Well, the one that went to Martha's Vineyard violated and ran away. What happened here, the planes left Florida, went to Texas, got the people, and then flew them up to up north. And in doing so, a big representative there said that the law had been violated. That was Jason Pizzo. He's a former city senator. And also, there's some other investigation as this takes place. And also, one of the things that currently that's going on, we here in St. Louis are very excited about the fact that last night, Albert Pujols, if you're a baseball fan anywhere, his 699 and 700 home run last night in California, LA, California. And also, that's interesting because that was when he played for the last 10 years. He played for the Anaheim Angels out there and also for the Dodgers. And so now going back as a partner, he had number 700. That's a very exclusive club to be in. And also, if you watch our TV and our cable, they've been changed at Indian News also. Down Limit is out now as the one of the interim this prime time shows being cut. But they're doing a total reshuffle of the course over there, okay? And so he moved from one slot, but he didn't get fired. Excuse me, he get the job. And also, please get registered to vote because coming up now is the situation of the election coming up, and you got to be registered to vote. So that needs to be taking place now. And also, if you're going to vote absentee, you can sort this time coming up also in some states where you can. And also, as we have this conversation, here, the state of Missouri has a lot of interesting things. Here in the state of Missouri, this past week, 2 hospitals were shut down out in Mexico, Missouri. And unfortunately, these hospitals were in a rural area, and so the healthcare deserts are sort of pop up more so in Missouri than other places, which is not a good thing at all. And also across the country, and including Missouri, more women are registered to vote, increasing because of the abortion issue and the growth of the Roe Wade. After 50 years, women should not have anyone should have control of their own bodies, and we all agree on that. On this show, we do. And also, the United States House of Representatives passed a recent bill, 4 bills that include police funding, bills with bipartisan support. Good thing. And what happened in the Senate, okay, nobody knows. And also here in St. Louis, the St. Louis Realtors Association apologized to the association members. Now, this is interesting. This goes back to the book I talk about on the show all the time called Meth and Decline. In that book, it kind of reviews the history of St. Louis. They go back to the early 1900s. We set the stage for housing, discrimination, redlining, covenants, and all those things. Kind of the apology on the table. And the 3-year plan, which, I don't understand how you can reverse discrimination to the black community in 3 years. Also, by the way, we will have someone from Rivers on our program in the very near future. But I put a call to them this past week and I asked him, how you guys going to do that? We know more the answers to this soon. And that's Missouri Chamber of Commerce, by the way, we'll be asking that question. So we will have it on our program also. Also in downtown St. Louis, business owners and residents are working together for the first time and to help City Hall with plans to stop shootings, crime, and other violent situations downtown. It's gotten very, very bad. Also here in St. Louis, Missouri, and St. Louis County, carjacking and murders increase. Now, that just a brief update of what's going on, and we'll be right back. That was very, very special guest today. Kind of seen with us before, and she's turning again. Kind of give us a preview what's to come and a preview, review of what took place in the past. My name is Ira, folks. This is much of a Liberty Conference on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. And Scott, that's moving now, and also we met with former state Senate candidate. It's probably right. Gotta take us out of here. Welcome back to Round 2 to Missouri Chamber of Commerce on the beautiful Saturday afternoon. This is September the 24th, and as you near the end of another month, by the way, welcome to fall. summer is gone. And here in St. Louis, we had a cold spell in a couple of days, and now we have a warm spell. Then we're going back down. We can officially say fall this year, but having said that, that's somewhat how the politics in this area and around the country is going. So we've been fortunate enough to have Ms. Coffee Wright on the show program earlier during the election, and she ran for U.S. Senator here in the state of Missouri, and she ran against a field of about quite a few people, including the winner, Ms. Lindsay, I should say, Tweety Bush Valentine, who won the nomination there, and so now she's up against a guy, Attorney General Eric Schmidt. And so on that note, Coffee, welcome back to the program.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for having me back. Yes.
Okay, first of all, what have you been doing since the election? First of all, let's do some catch up.
Okay, well, after the election, everyone was saying, hey, Coffee, it's time for you to go ahead and take a break, get you some rest, and regroup. And that sounds good. I mean, that's a great Cinderella story, but unfortunately, I haven't been able to adhere to it. I'm still doing the same things that I was doing during the election. During the campaign, before the campaign, and I'm gonna continue doing. That's speaking truth to power and fighting for our rights.
That's your nature. That's just you.
Thank you. I don't know another way to be. I just got back in town. Right now, actually, I'm just leaving a Black Urban Forum in North County. Found out that they're actually my relatives, and I didn't know it, but we're actually relatives. But anyway, took a tour on that and got to pick some greens, different kind of greens, some tomatoes, and eat right out the garden. And so, they're working with the board, working with Chili's Corner, which is fighting for the Board of Education to open up Dunbar schools. So it's big in St. Louis, closing all these schools, and we don't like it. The public schools have been shut down. So I'm standing with them, been standing with Chili's Corner and as well as other organizations that's fighting to keep these schools open. And so that's what I just got through doing. As we speak, I'm at the gas station. As a matter of fact, just leaving there. And then after this interview, I'll be going to another event where we're fighting for our 7 brothers that are on death row. One being Kevin Johnson, is scheduled to be executed on November 23rd. So I'm still fighting with them to keep that young man alive.
Okay, let's talk about that case there, because that's a really interesting case. Okay, that right now that's been in the news quite a bit, and in this case, it's kind of funny. It's not funny because the man's life is on the line here, but how all the evidence has proven that he's not guilty, and it's all been proven, but for some reason the state doesn't want to believe that. Why is that? How is that?
Okay, now with Kevin Johnson, he actually is guilty. He's never said that he wasn't. He's a young man who, at 19, he killed a police officer in Meacham Park. Right, but under the circumstances, for 18 minutes, he watched his little brother die and suffer from congestive heart failure, and they begged for the officer to let the little brother go to the hospital, which was 3 minutes away. But they refused, and for 18 minutes, they let his 10-year-old little brother die. And so, out of hurt, out of anger, out of disbelief, and whatever else might have been going through this young man's head at the time, him and his siblings watching his younger sibling die, he lost it, and he ended up assassinating or shooting a police officer, should I say, who as a result, he died. But bear in mind, a 21-year-old, and that was in 2006. But just 10 years later, 2016, a 21-year-old white male made an announcement on social media that I'm going to kill me some cops right here in Missouri as well. And guess what he did? He went and killed those cops. So that was premeditated. And he just has life. He's not on death row. His life has been spared. So why can't Kevin's life be spared? Why can't he get life in prison versus being assassinated, murdered by the system. And his execution date is November 29th. So I'll be at an event this afternoon, early evening, speaking on that and in support with them. But just yesterday, I just got back from D.C., speaking at the Capitol, as well as the the Thurgood Marshall Center in D.C. as well, speaking in reference to the food desert that we have in the urban. Yeah, nationwide, not just in Missouri, but the horrible food, the expensive food, as well as how the labs are doctoring up the food, the stores not selling fresh foods, and then the lack of stores in the urban communities. So I had opportunity.
Carl, one of the things about on the food desert, most of the stores, have been bought out by the superstores, the Walmart, and that's not just in the urban areas. That's also in some rural areas also that is taking place.
Yes, and but we have transportation problems for a lot of people to even get to the Walmarts and get to the to the grocery stores, and a lack of grocery stores, as you know, in the urban communities, and so we're forced to. A lot of people are forced to go to the stores that's walking distance, and those are owned by, by foreigners who a lot of times are selling us bad foods and overpriced food. So, which is a problem for our health as well, because when you eat bad foods and all these fast food chains are everywhere, then of course that brings on the cancers and the high blood pressure and the diabetes, and then also what about the choice that a lot of people have to make whether they're going to buy food or buy medicine, So these are, people say, well, Coffee, what one subject do you just fight? I don't just fight one subject. I fight any type of injustice. You do what's wrong, you're going to hear about it, You're going to hear about it.
But really, right now, you're a champion. By the way, while we have this conversation, I want to thank you and your campaign manager, Mr. Johnson Lancaster, for the work that you guys did as you traveled the state of Missouri. You were able to see firsthand around the state about these food deserts and disparities, in the communities. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit. We always hear about what's going on in the urban community. What's going on in some of our rural areas in the state of Missouri? How bad are things out there?
Yeah, well, the rural areas, they have their issues as well, You have a lot of rural areas that things that we take for granted, like Wi-Fi. And the choices of going to even Walmart. Some of the rural areas don't even have a major store in a place. Some of the rural areas like Mexico City, they don't have a hospital, They didn't close down the hospital. So medical care is an issue in rural areas. Stores, they're monopolized by one store. Everybody has to go to the one store that's owned by the same family generation after generation, it's just a mess. Missouri has to do better all over, we just have to. And so, and that's why, I stand with everybody that's trying to do something right for the people and for all people, because it's more, we're saying white against black. No, it's the rich versus the poor. That's the war right there. And so, of course, blacks, we got it 10 times harder, no doubt. But it's the rich versus the poor, because with white people, you see their skin before you know their story. So when you see the white skin, you don't know their story, so they get a lot of privileges just being white. They still have it hard as well, the poor ones, and the working people. But,
one of the things, Carl, in the state of Missouri, we found out during the Blunt administration years ago that you had more whites on welfare than you had blacks. And And that's still the case. That is still the case, definitely. And you have a lot of rich whites on welfare because white women are considered minorities. And you have a lot of situations where white men own big-time construction businesses, but then their woman, their wife, they may say they're separated, and they're getting welfare and getting all these benefits, just like, what is that? That white women are taking advantage of more than black people of a lot of the things that we fought for. So the thing is that because they consider minorities, but the bottom line is,
right before I went to D.C., I was down at the police station as well as at the site, the gas station site, where our 16-year-old little brother, Daryl Rouse, was assassinated by undercover police officers. You know, and then we hear where he had a gun. So we get to the whole thing is right. No, he might have had a gun. His mom said that when they rolled him over, the gun was under him in his holster, still under his waist. So that means he wasn't a threat. He didn't point a gun. He was running, and you shot him over 10 times in the back, and you're undercover. So how is somebody supposed to know that you're undercover? Two people approach you, and they undercover, and they shoot at you. What can you do but run or shoot back? I'm surprised the average person would have shot back. But from what we understand now, his weapon was never fired. You know, and the video footage that we saw definitely didn't show him firing a weapon or anything. And of course, they had it all smudged up and fogged up where, like, we're stupid. I mean, this is 2022. Every video device operates bare minimum 1080. 1080. What they call it, IP or whatever. You know, the quality. And so, you know, so this is how, you know, we're being mistreated, disrespected, and ambushed, you know, by authorities, by this unjust system. And that's why, you know, we fight.
Well, right now, can you about the issue here in St. Louis about the incarceration? In the system downtown, and also in St. Louis County, we have a lot of people that get incarcerated. Now people have been dying in jail because of the police.
Oh, speak a little louder for the people in the back row, brother. Absolutely. You know, I was in Jefferson City fighting and speaking on that back in May earlier this year, because we have so many people that's incarcerated. Whether you deserve to be incarcerated or not, you do deserve to be able to eat healthy and eat decent and not eat food that's been contaminated by rat feces and all of that, and rotten food. And this is the complaints from the inmates that never make it to the public, because a lot of times they're destroyed before it even make it to the ward. And even once the ward get it, I'm hearing the ward, a lot of times the ward isn't taking care of it. And then also, they're dying in prison, like you said. One brother, both of his legs are amputated because he was bit by a spider in prison, and because they did not give him medical care. And, you know, and you can look that up in the post, because I was right there when he came in and spoke. I spoke right before he did about the young girl who was locked up for snatch and grab clothing, and she's pregnant, and they didn't give her medicine for sickle cell nor prenatal medicine while she was locked up right here in Missouri. So this is the type of stuff that, again, we're dealing with. And not to mention, it's been coming out more in open. 6 people so far has died. 6 inmates have died in the city jail this year.
Yeah.
This year. And who's taking responsibility and no accountability?
Mm-hmm. You know, and also they got a new new person in charge down there. And one of the things we all know that in the jail systems, supposedly are getting cameras all over the place. So when these people die in jail, so it should be a hard thing to have some footage, okay, and be transparent about what's happening inside the jail.
Exactly. But we're not getting that. So there's we got to keep fighting. We cannot turn down nothing but our colors when it comes to fighting for our justice, because otherwise, you know, we can't go backwards, and we're not going backwards. It's as simple as that. So, you know, that's my motivation to keep going. Every time I say, forget this, I got to take a break. Because sometimes you feel like you're fighting for people that some people ain't fighting for themselves. You know, some people, just like with the voting, with the election, 76% of the people didn't even vote. So I'm like, dang. And, you know, Lancaster and I, you know, he's my campaign advisor, and along with Zaki Baruti, my campaign chief advisor. And Lancaster and I, we travel every day. That's my buddy. I mean, we got to, you know, travel back and forth, crisscross Missouri, but we didn't have a lot of money. You know, our budget was less than $10,000, and we were up against millions. You know, our opponents had millions on top of millions. But we were sleeping in cars on Walmart parking lot, Quick Trip parking lot, because we wanted to stay over instead of just going to an event in Kansas City and heading back. We heard about, they're having another event Saturday and another one Sunday, and 2 more on Monday. So we didn't have a hotel there to be spending. It wasn't in the budget. So we said, okay, let's find us a Walmart, parking lot. And we'll wash up in there, in the morning. And that's how we were getting down because we had to be where we had to be. We went to Sykeston back and forth and we hit the entire, Columbia, Jefferson City. We covered, Missouri, mostly every city we could, and so, but still, in doing so, we were able to see, we are all more alike than we are different, and Missouri has a lot of issues that are not being addressed, that has not been addressed, but the racism is so thick, it's ridiculous because the media is racist, and that's why I thank you so much for allowing me to come on your show and share with the community, share with the world that, it was 9 black people in the race out of 34 candidates running for United States Senate for Missouri, and the media told us, we're not mentioning anyone that doesn't have at least $1 million because we don't feel you have a chance to win. So guess what? They said it and they stuck to it, and they never mentioned us. They never mentioned the name.
I'm happy to say, okay, of all those counties, okay, you came in third. I mean, do all those obstacles they put in your way.
Well, I voted for her.
Yeah. So did I.
Yeah, I voted for you.
Thank you.
So did I. What I'm saying is,
appreciate it.
But I mean, without opposition, okay, you were able to place third, okay, and that's saying quite a bit, that you had to gain recognition because, of all the rest, the black woman, okay, you've been all those places, and so somebody was listening to you. It wasn't enough of them, though.
Thank you. And actually came right at fourth because the two of us, Todd and myself, was close neck and neck, and I think he beat me by a little bit. But the thing is that even 4th out of 34 was good, but almost don't count. That's only for horseshoes and hand grenades, right?
Hey, what you did is good. God is working with you, and God gonna have you to accomplish what needs to be done. So just keep the faith, baby. Like Alan Clayton Powell said, keep the faith. Thank you.
I think what was hurtful to me, it wasn't the fact of not winning, because, somebody got to lose. Somebody's got to lose. It was 34 of us. So that means 33, well, actually 32 had to lose. So if you get technical, 30 people had to lose because 4 different people played. We had a libertarian, we had the independent wasn't on the ballot, so it was the libertarian. I think the Green Party had someone, and the Democrat and the Republican, of course. But the problem is that it was hurtful that you have 6 million people in Missouri, and 76% of the people did not vote. And the main reason is what I'm hearing. They didn't know the other people was in the race. They're thinking it was only 2 on the Democrat ballot and two or three on the Republican, because those were the ones with the millions of dollars. And so that's all they saw on television. And so when they dominated the television and the radio, we couldn't do it. We couldn't afford TV commercials, so they didn't even know that we were on the ballot. And so last time I got 41,000 plus votes, and people came out, they showed up and showed out. And I was hoping if those same people or that same number can do it again this time and bring 3 to 10 people with you. Make sure everybody take responsibility to make sure 10 people get out and vote. And understand, you don't have to wait until Election Day. You have up until 2 weeks prior to Election Day where you can actually go in and vote. So, ready to do it absentee, or you walk right in the doors of the election office. But we don't know that. So it's so much more voters education that needs to be explained to the people. And we have to take responsibility ourselves as a people and find out what the heck is going on. You know it's an election going on.
Amen.
Do your due diligence and find out who's in this race. So many people told me, I didn't even know you was running this time. Or you saw my signs. Can nobody say they didn't see my signs in St. Louis? Because my signs, I painted the streets purple, okay? And so my signs were everywhere. And still I'm getting calls that, Coffee, you're going to taking signs down now because election is over, and you still, they everywhere all over our ward. But, the bottom line is we as citizens have to step up. Otherwise, we might as well shut our mouth complaining if we're not going to be a part of the solution, because we cannot allow the rich to continue to dominate this entire, not only election, but these positions. I mean, there's 100 United States senators, family, 100 of people sitting at this table making laws, making policies that affect our lives and our children's lives and our grandchildren and so forth. They're making the rules. And so, like the George Floyd bill, it's just a bill. It's not illegal for police to kill an unarmed person. We have no law. They're protected. So if we want this stuff to change, they're trying to take our voting rights. In November, they're going to make if you go to prison for giving someone a bottle of water. Come on now. That's a John Lewis Voting Act that we got to get passed into a law. Free health care for everybody. I've been fighting for that, and I'm still fighting for it. With Trudy Bush, who won the midterm on the Democrat Party, she said absolutely not. That's going to cost $33 trillion. We do not need that, and I'm not for it. If you go to the League of Women Voters on YouTube, they recorded all of that. They recorded all of our answers to that question they asked. And we were all shocked that she openly said that. But that's what we have on the ballot in November. So when they say, Coffee, you got to support the Democrats, look, I support what I believe in, and that's the way it goes. And let me tell you something. This time, brother, the chips can fall where they may, because you can't tell me that I got to make a choice between the KKK and the Nazis. I don't have to make that call. And that's just me. Everybody else do what you want to do, but you're not going to get me on television support nobody who don't believe in us, who's not for reparations, who's not for free Medicare for all, and not for the things that we fight so hard and die for.
Amen.
Thank you.
Say it, girl. Say it.
Thank you. I should have read Independent, but the reason why I didn't is because most poor people, and especially blacks, we're going to vote Democrat if we get out and vote. And so I felt like if I ran Green Party Independent, I might as well not got in the race, unfortunately. But I can't go along with some of the things on either side, and I support some things on both sides. And so I just have to go with what works for the poor people and the working people. And that's who I fight for, Sam.
Okay, Coffee.
See, Ara, Ara.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard about the purge? Have you heard anything on the purge, Ira?
Well, the purge is always going on, real. Right, Coffee?
Yeah. It's so much going on, but and it's so unbelievable, that they call this country a democracy, because I don't see it.
Well, Coffee, another thing, that talk about here is in the upcoming year, women's rights, Roe versus Wade was overthrown by the Supreme Court, and we find these courts right now more in our lives than ever before, and I do mean than ever before. So, what are some of your thoughts here about the Supreme Court and the Roe versus? How would that affect the upcoming election?
And your question is, what about the Supreme Court, Roe versus Wade? What was the question?
Yeah. How do you think that's going to, women right now are having their rights taken away from them? Because we all on the phone here, we feel that women should have control of their own bodies on things. I know that's first when you get that out the way. I mean, so what are your thoughts right now, about how that's going to affect the upcoming election?
And a lot of church folks, we're going to definitely disagree with me, because people have their own opinion. Everybody are right to it. But I'll say this: this is where the feelings come a little mixed. First of all, Roe versus Wade was never a law. Really, that was a court's precedent. And so now we have the opportunity to try to make it a law. And in making it a law, I would support that being a law, but it does need some changes now that it has been.
Yes.
Because honestly, it's our bodies. We want, okay? But at the same time, I think at a certain point, we should be cut off from getting an abortion at a certain point. I cannot go along with a 15-year-old, 16-year-old walking in the door of an abortion clinic without their parents knowing anything about it, and you're 6 months pregnant, you having an abortion, no questions asked. I have a nephew that was born, his mom gave birth to him at 5 months, okay? He just graduated from Chicago State University, honor roll, okay? So a woman 5.5 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant, that baby can survive because my nephew's living proof. So when you turn around and you have a 15 or 16-year-old boy making this decision, why? Because she's scared to tell her parents she thinks it's the worst thing in the world. A child is a blessing, not a curse, first of all.
Amen.
Okay? Now, if it's not a child, if it doesn't have a heartbeat, you're talking about, some people say 8 weeks, some people say 12 weeks. At that point, yeah, if you want to abort that, whatever it is, then I think that should be your right. That's plenty of time to make a decision that, hey, I had unprotected sex, or the protection didn't work, or this is going on. Or if you was raped, you know you was raped 8 weeks later. You know you was raped 12 weeks later. If it's incest or if somebody's health is an issue, then that's a whole different ballgame. We have to allow that if it becomes that person's life or that baby's or that person's best interest, to survive or whatever. But you're not having a monster, you're having a child, okay? And having a baby is not the worst thing in life. There's way more things worse than a young person coming up pregnant, or an old person for that matter. So, California, New York, you walk right into the abortion clinic, 16 years old, 6 months pregnant, no questions asked. That's BS to me. That's Afro-Naco BS. I don't think that should be allowed. And so, I mean, when I got pregnant as a teen, to me it was devastating because I wasn't even sexually active. All my friends were here in St. Louis were on birth control in the 7th, 8th grade. And I'm like, you got to be crazy. How could sex be a good thing? How could you enjoy that? And then I had the same boyfriend. He was my little high school sweetheart. He was my grade school sweetheart. And when we made the decision to be sexually active, okay, and I got pregnant. And so I could have made that decision to terminate that pregnancy, and I'm glad I didn't because my daughter, is the better part of me. And so, and I thank God for her every day.
Amen.
And so, but the thing is that, and of course I have a son as well. Most people don't know that about me, and I never share. A lot of people don't think I have kids, not because I don't love them and I'm not proud of them, but because I don't share it, because I get so many crazies threatening my life on a monthly, a weekly basis that I try to keep my family out of my battles. I pick these battles, and I don't want to expose, others to it.
Copy on that, okay? Sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right now.
The bottom line is, we can't, I don't think, they're making these kids think, if you knew the process of these abortions, taking a vacuum in a lot of cases and ripping this child apart limb by limb, that is pure murder. And so again, I say, if it's prior to it actually being a baby, if it's prior to a heartbeat, then we have the morning after pill. I highly recommend that, but they took that away now. The morning after pill, you got a whole week to take this pill. You had sex, whether it was consensual or not. You definitely don't want to get pregnant. You find, then take this pill, and it's a 99.9% chance you're not going to, conceive a child. And so, it won't turn into a baby. Take the pill, family. Give them the pill, And so that's my honest opinion, and I stick by it. And so can't please everybody. Some people don't appreciate it. They say, no, just regardless, it's all right. It's got to be a cutoff period. It has to be a cutoff period, In my opinion.
Well, one thing you said earlier on, okay? One thing you said early on in the conversation, okay? That the Roe versus Wade wasn't perfect, okay, but then right now it did create a craft bill, okay, all the concerns that people have, the one you just mentioned, okay, those things need to go into that, okay. There should be always limitations, okay, on what you can do, what you can't do.
Right. It should be a law, and it should be crafted. But the sad part about it, because I had to decide, was I going to stand with them, and I made the decision to stand with them. Although I wanted it to be craft, but see, they didn't give us the opportunity to be craft or not. But what they did was took it away, and that was wrong. Just to flat take it away instead of modifying it or putting the cutouts. They flat took it away. Now you have all these people that's caught up in this in between. Because people haven't stopped having sex. Sex is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. People have sex. It's supposed to be a beautiful thing, But unfortunately, sometimes, you get dealt a hand that you're not ready for. You just may be into casual sex, or you may be in love with the person, but you wasn't trying to create a child, And God blessed you with one, and now you're stuck with having to have it. Or unfortunately, if you was raped, Some people, do misuse and abuse abortions. Some people, you do have a small number of people that use it as a form of birth control. I know people tell me they had 6, 7 abortions. Really?
Wow.
At what point do you become more responsible? There's nothing to pat yourself on the back. Don't expect me to stand up and give you an ovation because you did something like that. At what point do you take your body and your health more serious? And being responsible.
Why are we talking about the young people? Okay, what are your thoughts about the school systems now? That we were talking out there earlier, Scott, Rev and I was about nowadays. I'm talking about nowadays that we hear so much right now about what teachers can't teach, what cannot be done. As you travel, okay, with this as an adult, it's confusing to me. Okay, all the things they asking teachers to do. How are the kids as you travel dealing with this all education nowadays, grade school and high school, as you travel?
Well, what I'm seeing all around, with them closing all these public schools, that's ridiculous. I'm for the public schools. I was educated in the public school system.
Likewise,
and
yes.
I think children should be able to walk to school in their neighborhood, not get up 2 or 3 hours early before school starts, before classes in session. They have to be bused on the other side of the city, or out to the county or wherever. The schools, the charter schools and these county schools that have all these great programs and activities and benefits, put them in the public school, But by that being taken out and never put in half the time in these schools, guess what? People saying, hey, I want my kid to get the best education, so get on that bus. I stopped a little girl, she's about 10 years old. She's at the bus stop by herself, standing on the corner. Well, she was about 30 feet from the corner, waiting on the bus, closer to the alley than she was the corner. And so I don't know her, but I stopped. I said, "Look, girl, why come you're not in school?" She said, "I'm waiting on my bus." I said, "What? Right now?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, then this was at 9 o'clock. She wasn't out there at 5 or 6 in the morning. This was at 9 o'clock. This was about 8:45 in the morning." I'm like, I thought, she playing hooky or something because I thought school should have been here by then. But she said, she waiting on her bus. I said, "What time your bus comes?" She said, 8:50. I said, "Well, it's 8:52 now." And so I said, "Well, I'm going to wait right here on the other side of the street and I'm going to watch you." But I told her, I want you to stand on the corner from now on. I said, stand right there by that sign, about 5 feet from the corner. I said, if anybody pull up on you, anybody try to talk to you, I want you to run in them houses and start screaming and knocking the door. Don't even see what they want. I said, you should not be out here by yourself. Where's your mother? She said, my mother had to drop my little brother off at his bus stop. I said, see there, now here you got 2 little kids going to 2 separate schools, and this little girl out here by herself. I could have snatched her if I wanted to, And, I deal with missing people. I look for missing people and put the word out anytime I hear about anything like that. People contact me. And so I said, that shouldn't be. These kids should be able to go to school together in their neighborhood,
Mm-hmm. So, Carl, one of the things, that you mentioned there, that even before the kid gets to school, they got to go through all this trauma just getting there.
Just getting there is a whole, and then getting back home. So when do they have time to get back home? When do they have time to study? When do they have time to eat right? You in a bus all these hours and all this kind of foolishness. foolishness. It's ridiculous. But, you know, and these parents, and especially, I'm going to call out the black parents and the poor parents, get your butt up and go to the schools and attend these meetings. You know, I work with Tilly's Corner, and they have these schools, and these people don't even have the head over that organization, the Alexanders, McGill and Carla. They don't even have any children. Wayne Coxell with UAPO. You know, she don't have any children in school. She have a grandchild, but she don't have any children in the Tilly's. They don't have any little children in school, but they fighting for Dunbar to stay open. We got to get these parents have to be more proactive instead of sitting around with their lip out talking about mad about this and mad about that. Show them you mad. Because the St. Louis School Board of Education, half of them ain't doing nothing to keep these schools open. You know, that's why they closed them. We got a handful of them that you know, you go down to the meetings. I'm glad Dr. Adams will be gone in December. He should have retired the first day he was hired. As far as I'm concerned, he ain't done nothing to help keep these schools open. But you know what? He live out in the county. His wife is a principal out in the county. So if they share the same mindset, they're going to have some problems out there too. Because, you know, they're going to have some problems out there too. They think they, and I don't know if you can curse or not, so I won't, but they think they crapping in hot cotton out there. Oh, they'll soon see. They'll soon see, you know, that they're going to have the same problems because of, the position they take. They brought in Dr. Adams from, I forgot what state he came from, but he's not from St. Louis. Don't know nothing about him.
No, he's not.
They tried to close Sumner. That's our #1 black historic high school. My grandmama graduated from Sumner. And, you know, but we fought. You know, Ron Gregory fought. The whole team fought. You know, the alumni fought to keep it open. But, you know, they stuck together. You know, and so we have people trying to keep Beaumont. Bill Monroe want to turn Beaumont into a Harriet Tubman school. As a matter of fact, he called me and asked me something like being a mascot or something. He said he couldn't think of nobody better to be Harriet Tubman than me. I appreciate that, you know. I take it as a compliment. Like she said, death or liberty, right? And that's what I'm on, death or liberty, you know.
How's Bill doing, by the way?
He's doing fine. He's doing fine. But you know, I just saw him last week at the school board meeting. I stood with him, and as well as Tilly's Corner and others. Teachers, you know, they don't, and that's another thing. They're not paying our teachers crap. So the teachers are saying some of them are taking a little pay and sticking with it. But you have a teacher in the St. Louis city that's been teaching for 35 years, but if you go out of the county, the new teacher's making the same amount starting, and you've been teaching for 35 years. So they're not valuing our teachers, and we have some good teachers in the public school system. You know, you know, and you know, these schools have produced a lot of attorneys and doctors and brains, and you know, just we have some phenomenal people. And even if you're not even something of that status, whatever you're doing, your own business or just being a good person, you know. And
it's them crooks in the system that's messing up about this school thing. Believe me, what I'm saying. They get that money for themselves, this infrastructure money that coming in here, they put it in their pocket. That's why they can't open those schools up around here and have people to be here in schools.
That's right. I mean, with all them in the 6-figure income, you know, take a reduction in your income so money can go in other places. You
yes,
know?
sir.
And but there's too much like right. You know, there's too much like right.
I know one of the things, I keep my school sold in, and they're still existing. They have the homecoming next weekend. Having said that, okay. But having said that,
they just combine Southern with Sumner. Now you know, that's how hard this person got.
Yeah. But I think right now Sumner has become somewhat of a diversified school. Am I right?
Yeah, you know, yes, it's somewhat diversified. Well, you know, look what they did with the new Bashan. You know, we did all that fighting for Bashan to be upgraded. They made it look like, I mean, this is gorgeous. You know, phenomenal. But guess what? They didn't brought all these white kids in. A lot of kids that live in that district don't even go to that school. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, I found out by one of the aides, and one of the assistant teachers, that what they were doing was, if you didn't have a C average or better, they sent you to this other little school that was a grade school and put those students over there with no air conditioner. Just a old grade school, and that was for the high school students that wasn't high academically performers. Now how is that gonna make you feel like, first of all, an equal human being, and secondly, how is it gonna make you feel like being productive when you gotta go to this old raggedy school because you're not a high academic producer? That's not gonna make you want to function at your best.
Well, it's demoralizing.
Yeah, but that's what they did. So they didn't do nothing but build all this stuff up so they can bring in who they want to bring in, because, as you know, gentrification is strongly taking place over in that area as well as North St. Louis. It's like they did with the West End, So by them doing that, it's really, it's affecting the poor people and the working people. And so, that the soccer stadium, that's what? 5 minutes from the soccer stadium, 3 minutes,
Yes.
2 minutes from NGA, So Rashawn is right, the new Rashawn right there in Cass, in between Jefferson and Grady, But it's walking distance to the NGA. And you know what they did with that for those viewers and listeners who are not familiar with the NGA, but that's billions of dollars.
Couple billion.
Couple $1 billion. I'm sorry, I'm walking and talking. A couple $1 billion.
While you're talking NGA or that's your record, they do all the maps and stuff. They moved it to the other door, so go ahead.
Took all those people homes, relocated the 4 black people, took their homes, didn't want to pay nobody nothing. One lady fought her, she stood her grounds, and they ended up having to relocate her entire home. She wasn't going for it, and they had to relocate her. But still, who want to move? That's the area you grew up in. That's where you wanted to be able to pass your home on generation after generation to your family. And so when gentrification strikes and they get the redlining, it always affects the poor and the working people.
Okay. Carl, you brought up, since you've been a trail, you may not have heard, okay? This past week, the St. Louis Association of Realtors came out with an apology for the stuff they have done here in the St. Louis community. And, I put a call in to them, to the president of the board of the realtors there, asked them to come on the program as well as have a meeting. And in this, this discrimination goes back to the early 1900s. And I'm not sure how you can rectify past in 3 years. And I want to see that plan, and I want to see how it's going to work. Because I've been a developer, and I've seen how I had to fight, my homes, and how that area right now is kind of taken over. And so I had to plan, I had to work against me and stuff. But what are your thoughts on that?
You said who put the apology out? Your sound went out again. Who put the apology out?
Okay, sure. No, I'm sure the St. Louis Realtors are offering an apology. The leadership of the St. Louis Realtors is offering an apology to our association members and the community we serve. That they are painfully aware of the historical discrimination laws at the local, state, and federal government, as well as the document policies and practice of our national organizations. And because most of the red line and laws and stuff, they were created here in this area.
Apologize my foot. Apology don't mean nothing. Anybody can put their mouth to say anything. Put your money where your mouth is. What are you going to do? Because your apology, they have destroyed generational wealth they've taken from us, all the way down to the vacant lots all over this city. These lots had homes that black people lived in and worked and struggled to pay for. The black man mostly was the head of the household. He worked, the woman took care of the house, and then most of our black women had to work too, doing what they call scrubbing Miss Ann's floors, working for the white people, cooking for them, raising their kids, getting their kids to school when you can't even be at home to get your own kids to school because you got to make some money and you at the bus stops. And so when they turn around and take our houses because they violated, you have chip paint, you have this, and the black woman normally outlived the black man. So the black man was the one keeping up the maintenance on the homes and everything. So when he died, then the woman ain't pulling out that ladder and climbing 2 stories or 1 story. The woman can't do the work because she wasn't trained to do that. And so therefore, then you got anybody with a trunk or a pickup truck call themselves a contractor. So they ripping off people. And you're dealing with small minimum income, and then the government got their part involved in it also. Why? Because guess what? Social Security used to get 2 checks. When your husband died or your wife died, whoever go first, you got that other person's Social Security also. What happened to their money? All that money that both people did put into Social Security, but you can only get whichever check is the highest. So the government keeping our money. You know, my grandmama, back in the days, when my grandfather died, she used to get her Social Security check and his. Then they stopped it. You can only get whichever one is the highest. Well, what happened to all that money you took from my grandfather? You know, so we're due reparations in every form or fashion. So we still ain't gonna be able to surpass them. If they gave each one of us $1 million today, that's the only thing they can do that make me say we're on the right track. Because we got a lot of catching up to do. They can't pay back for my grandmama suffering and my mama suffering and me suffering. You know, they took care of it right now. You can't even pay for my kids having to have limited this and that. You know, and then when you got all these kids doing wrong things, you know, killing each other. They talk about the black on black crime, and we know it's white on white crime also, but I'm talking about the black on black crime. These kids killing each other over a pair of tennis shoes. They kill each other over crazy stuff because everybody got to eat or everybody wants this. It don't make it right, but at the same time, we're doing this. If we had good jobs, if we had generational wealth, if we was able to just survive like the white kids our age and everything, then we wouldn't be killing each other like this. I don't know anybody that have a good job that's just going around sticking up people and snatching their purse. You know, yeah, they may kill over other reasons. And dead is dead, so I'm not saying it's right. But these are petty crimes that people killing for and the ignorant stuff that people doing. This is not really our fault. You know, we know right from wrong, but this comes from a long stem of racism that we have been exposed to, and it even poisons some of our minds. We tell you ain't gonna be able to do this, it costs money to do that. You ain't gonna be able to do that. So when we are ignorant and we are lacking, then the next generation is exposed to that as well. And now he's talking about the majority of the people, which really, the majority of the poor people, really, that's what we're dealing with. For real. Mm-hmm. You know, you got special people who teach each one, practice each one, teach one, and say, nah, baby, you ain't going to the check cashing place to cash your little check. We're going to get you a banking account. We're going to a credit union. This is how you build up your credit. This is how you do that and do that. And we gotta share more of that family with each other. We can't be on a, I got mine, you're gonna have to get yours. We're gonna have to practice, I got mine, let me help you get yours. I got mine, let me show you how to get yours. And until we start exercising that, we really gonna continue to stay behind, because we have to be our brothers and sisters keepers. Ain't no question about it, fam.
Say it, yeah.
That's more so than ever before. We got to be our brother keepers. So not only our brothers, our sisters, it's the whole family keepers.
Absolutely.
Working together. We got to be working together.
That's right. We have to be able to make sacrifices. Don't worry about having Calvin Klein name on your underwear. Don't worry about having Gucci this. Those people don't give a shit about you. They ain't gonna wear your name. I don't see nobody with James Brown name on their clothes. Everybody gonna wear James. I don't wanna wear his stuff. He was sweaty and greasy, had a perm in his hair. But we wanna honor somebody who don't even want us to wear their clothes. Such as, you know.
That's foolishness.
Okay, but we do it. You know.
That's foolishness.
It's foolishness. You know, and then the next season is a whole that stuff out of style. So we got to learn how to take that money and what I call universal living. Well, we need to all live together again. Put 10 people in the house. Put 20 people in the house, like the Mexicans or the Latinos do it. If that's what it's gonna take, I don't care if you're only making $10,000 each a year. You got 10 people in the house with $10,000 a year. That's $100,000 coming in that house. You can do something. you'll be owning Taco Bell next time. Everybody working at Taco Bell right now. If you ain't owning Taco Bell, then you're owning Brother Taco. You know, so that's how we do it. We have to put you know, what you got, but what you do with what you have, right? So, you know, one gas bill, one electric bill. If you gotta have cable, then one cable bill, or go buy you a Roku or a Fire Stick. You know, since the hookup is gone out the community now. You know, so
they don't show nothing on cable anyway.
Okay, that's okay.
They don't show nothing on cable anyway. Cable's messed up.
I wouldn't know it because I don't have it. Don't have cable. I ain't had cable since the hookup left. Okay.
I hear you.
Okay, and so the thing is, you know, I ain't paying no $100 a month, $150 a month for nothing. You can see that on YouTube, you know, an hour later, you know. So the thing is that, yeah, so, you know, when we decide, hey, we're going to make the sacrifice for 2 years and we're going to all live together and this is what we're going to have, and this is the game plan. If we do this, then we can do that, and then we'll have this, you know. Until we make those decisions, even if they give us reparations, we gotta be taught the best way to make this money do what it gotta do. Because otherwise, we're gonna still be broke. You know.
Well, you know, Cookie, that goes back to something I brought up a couple of times in our interview today. Is it goes back now to people being taught at an early age. You know, like we talked about, you know, how you know, the sex in schools, how that's been an issue. But also, when the kids go to school, get a basic education nowadays, that's getting distorted. Talk a little bit about that.
We have to have sex education in the schools. You know, we didn't have it in school when I went to school, and so I think it's necessary. You know, the most we only was exposed to one video showing just a little bit, bare minimum. It didn't teach us nowhere near. A lot of parents don't want to talk about the birds and bees, or they may just be waiting too late to have that discussion. We have to have it because, again, when I had sex, you know, when I chose to have sex as a teenager, it led to me being pregnant, and it led to my whole life changing, you know. And I've been on my own since I was 15, right? And so by me being on my own that young, got my first apartment when I turned 16, okay? 11th grade, over the summer, I ended up taking my GED, passed it, and let me just say this clear for people who have their GED or people who may look down on GED. To pass a GED, you got to know your shit, okay? People graduate from high school with a D. A D is passing, okay? So we can't never be tricked by thinking a GED means you're dumb, because you got to be smart enough to pass all 4 subjects. But I took my GED in the summer of 82, and I started college right away in 82. I wasn't scheduled to graduate from high school until 83. So I got to jump ahead, 1 year ahead, went straight to Forest Park and took anywhere from 18 to 23 credit hours every semester until I graduated. And my degree from there is early childhood education. And so it's just a matter of putting your mind to it and saying, I'm going to do it, and sticking to it, family. And so I run into so many people my age range and within up to 10 years younger and 10 years over that have left school for one reason or another and never did go back and further their education. And I run into a lot of people that have drug issues who have low self-esteem and they feel less than someone else because they didn't complete high school. Always know you can go back. If you don't want to go to GED school, I never went to GED school. I went straight to the Board of Education and took my GED and passed. And if you don't pass, guess what? It's 4 parts. You're going to pass one subject, and whatever you pass, then you just study on the ones you didn't pass and go back and do it again. But critical race theory, that's some crap, you know. They need to I read banned books, okay? So you're talking about banning books, trying to hide what our history. You can't erase our history. You can't erase your history, what was done to us. And because that explains why we're here. When they look at black people and say, I don't know why black people don't pull themselves up by their bootstraps, black people don't get themselves together. It's easy to tell somebody you need to get yourself together. But what is get yourself together? What does that really look like? You know, that may be easy for some, but hard for others, you know. And so...
Cookie, right now, okay, I'm happy to say that we've been joined by our, I guess we call him the CEO, our leader of the Manufacturing and Commerce, Turkey Boa. Okay, Chuck, you've been listening to Cookie Right, Coffee Right, I'm sorry, Coffee Right.
Your cookie is too sweet. I'm coffee. I'm coffee. 1 cream, 2 creams, 1 sugar, okay? Cookie is too sweet.
And she was one of the candidates for the U.S. Senate here in Missouri. Came in. I said 3, they said 4. Okay, and this last election. So she's been giving us an update about what's going on in our community. And we've been talking about the sex education and the education board. So, Chuck, as you come in, can you kind of tie into that, or you want a little bit about that as you travel? You can see.
If I dare, I'd love to just let's follow the start. Let's follow this through. Cookie, you on a roll, girl. Keep going.
Coffee, thank you so much. I'm coffee.
Coffee.
Right.
Coffee. I'm sorry. All right.
Right.
So wait a minute. Let me put a little context on this though, to tighten this up. We have found, and I say we, I was going to say society, but the National Black Chamber of Commerce, we took some exception with all this, we can't find people qualified, and we're going to have to bring in 30,000 workers from another country because we don't have STEM education, all these kinds of things. And what we found out was that it wasn't requiring an MIT degree in engineering, that a GED with a little bit of subsidization on particular 6-week training or on-the-job training was enough for a lot of these jobs.
Amen.
So I'm all the way with it, and I want to continue because you hit on a whole bunch of topics there in about 30 seconds.
How you doing, John?
Oh man, I'm fantastic, but I'm up for whatever. That's the world we live in, and believe me, I done got some of that coffee in me, so I'm right there with it, and let's go.
Amen.
Wow, I'm glad you pointed that out, sir. Because as I said, people, even if they stop going to school, they didn't stop learning. When you go to the grocery store, you're doing mathematics. If you're adding up or estimating what your food gonna cost. When you go party, then that's music appreciation. You go to the library, then you got your science, or you go to the museum, and so you never stop learning. And most of the time, if you're homeschooled or you're learning even out of school, a lot of times schools can be a distraction. Like I said, I went to Beaumont, and I was on the pom-pom squad. I was in the van, but Beaumont had a smoking area. That was a big disappointment for me. Beaumont, I'm proud Blue Jacket. I also attended Northwest. But I'm gonna tell you, with Beaumont, we had a smoking area that I had to go through the hallways every day to get to the lunchroom. And people blowing smoke. Kids shouldn't be allowed to smoke in school, is my opinion, but they were. And so we had to go through that. And then we had to walk 3 or 4 blocks to what they call the supplementary building for 3 classes. As freshmen, we had to do that, regardless of what the weather was. And then I had to go there to learn something I didn't want to learn. They taught me Christopher Columbus discovered America. What the what? How did somebody discover a place where people already exist, right? So I'm going there. I want to hear some Black history. Tell me what was the black? My question was, what was Black people in the cowboy days?
Amen.
I saw Blazing Saddles, and it was only one Black person in that movie. So in the other Black movies with John Wayne, you didn't see him at all unless it was a blacksmith. And I mean, he was Black and his name was Smith. So the thing is that, so it was like, the school system, they failed us in certain ways, but we had some good teachers that made sure you're going to learn about this person. You're going to learn about Malcolm X. You're going to learn about Martin Luther King. You're going to learn about other people that we had never heard of, that we were exposed to. And I thank God for some of the school teachers that we had in the public school system. But the bottom line is, you don't stop learning. I know plenty of people that graduated with D's, straight D's, because a D is passing. So, hire those people to take their GED. They have to know their stuff, because you're tested individually in each subject. And then most jobs are on-the-job training. Most people that hold degrees are not working in that field. They're not even working in the field. Right. So they make up millions of degrees. It's a piece of paper, that's all they're saying is that you've been exposed to this book or this education and a teacher witnessed it, So all those books are in the library, And so, So that's my stance on that. But while people listening, yeah, I'm looking for a job now too. So keep me in mind.
Yeah.
We're gonna end it right there. It was the Chuck come aboard. The Chuck, that coffee, right? I've been on it for quite a while, okay. And she hasn't said it yet, but I kind of feel she's going to work in the community. And she was in DC this past week also, but I think she'll probably run again. And for the next some years, am I right, Cook? Am I here to myself or here to you?
Well, we haven't made that announcement yet, but I'm definitely strongly considering it, and but we're just hoping to get bigger donations. I've had some job opportunities right now to work in D.C. I just came back from there as well, and it ain't gonna happen. I'm not a politician. I'm willing to do the job. I'm not just looking for a job. St. Louis is my heart. This is where I am. This is where my fight is, and and so what the changes we make here will lead for the whole country. And so we don't have to follow behind California, follow behind each other. We're the show me state, and we can show, and so, and that's what it's about. So it's not about, just go ahead and why don't you take that job and you'll be making big money. I'm okay. Guess what? I see the same sun, the same moon. My house is paid for. I don't have a lavish lifestyle, and so I like fighting here. And so I ran for United States Senate because we don't have any black women in Senate, not one. And then who's pushing for the changes that we need? I'm not scared of them. I stand up for them. They don't scare me. And so, so thank you again, you all. I appreciate it.
On that note, thank you so much. And we will be in communication again. Get Lancaster my best, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. And shout out to Lancasters. I keep it rooted. And all the viewers, everybody who supported me. I really appreciate it, you family. We got this. We got it.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Love your life. We will be.
We love you.
Thank you. That's why I said it, family. We all matter. Remember that. We all matter.
Amen.
Right. Carl. Take care of yourself. Okay, well, Chuck. Go ahead, bring us. That's Carson Wright, Chuck. I've been known her for a couple of years, okay, and she's a part of the community, and she preaches what you hear us saying now. That's the real deal.
That's a mouthful. Yes, the real deal.
Oh yeah.
Amen.
A small woman at that. So she's not.
But there's so many issues in there. Because we're really talking about vocational education.
Yes.
And whether somebody's working in the field that they went to school for, it's a new evolution, new world, and taking care of ourselves or being in our own reality. And she mentioned really a little bit about parenthood, and parents, we don't get a day off. You don't get to take off. There's a responsibility to talk to your children. And not only that, but talk to the people at the barber shop. Talk to people at the beauty shop or wherever we got to talk to each other. And sometimes you pick up knowledge from the environment you're in. So it may not be.
That's how you learn, sir. That's how you learn.
That's how you learn. You got to get out here and learn and whatever. And the other things are happening, like 15-year-old parents. Somebody that puts such a burden on your life that at 15 years old, and maybe I know some situation where the parent, if it's a mother, sometimes they put the girl out. Just totally. You like totally
out of my house. Out of my house.
Yeah, out of my. You're grown now, and you go. And it is so hard to get back on track when you're thrown off track.
That is shock to someone. You've been here all your life. You're 50 years. You see how you are. This has been your cocoon, like a better description. They take care of you now. So now you're out of here, just like that. That's shock.
On your own, and there's a lot of that been going on. But it has not really changed that much in the past 100 years. It hasn't changed that much. and all this talk and everything was going on. But there are that's what I'm saying. There's so many issues, topics, and we can simplify it to some degree, meaning that you look at it maybe from a philosophical approach, and I mean all of us with our daily lives and routines and how we deal with it. And part of that is, I'm just going to sound trite, but part of it is your morals and your religious convictions and putting some standards in your life, or what is acceptable or what isn't. Or I don't necessarily have to be like everybody else. The smoking cigarettes in school and all that. It's cool, but I bet some of the people are dead now too.
Yeah.
You can be cool today, but you'll be gone tomorrow.
So before we go any further,
it's not good for your health. Yeah. Especially at an early age, or if you're an athlete, or all these other issues and things going on.
So before we go any further, okay, I want to congratulate you, okay. I'm looking at a picture of you, okay, when you went to Vice President of Costa Rica this week at a delegation, okay, and I would say this, okay, Chuck works around the clock. This is at 9:50 my time. I mean, it's a 10:50 Washington D.C. time, okay. So I want to commend you, okay. So what was that like, Chuck?
Man, and they were still going strong. It was like, I was like, oh my goodness, oh boy, and they were excited. The adrenaline was flowing. So this is the pre-week to Congressional Black Caucus Week. But it also is what they call Med Week, which is Minority Enterprise Awards and whatnot by NBDA, Minority Business Development Agency. And so there's a lot of folks in town, but this is the real thing that I have to note is that it's a lot of international people in town that come in and around these things. It's really evolved and changed. So there are those people that will tell you, and I was one of them saying, I don't know that much what's different about Congressional Black Caucus now versus 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago and what they're doing. And the real difference isn't so much what's written on paper, it's what's actually happening in and around it. And that's where I saw the dynamic. So that was Epsie Campbell, the former vice president of Costa Rica, came and brought some of her team, and then we had our development team, our strategic partners at Blueprint Global Consulting Group. They have some ideas and some concepts. Epsie and her team have some that were representing what they're calling, this is really interesting dynamic, but they're calling it the door of reunification. Now that comes from there's I think it's 3 to 5 different doors they have in Africa called the door of no return. And in slavery, you might get hit over the head in a bar or down the street or something. I mean, this was happening in places like London, but in Africa, it was just all outright kidnapping. They might hit you, grab you, take you, throw you in this room that was it was called Cape Coast Castle. It was in Ghana, and I've been in there and I got photos of it. And it was like a holding room. And they had the door you come in and the door you go out. And it was like 50 yards from the dock where the ships were docked. And they would grab you. They had these guys, there's some roughnecks that would go out and grab black people, Africans, and throw them in this room. And once you got in there, if you weren't knocked out, you were chained up and shackled right then and there. And then when they were ready to load up, it's no different than the modern day bus station or something. Come in one door and you go out here and you go you got a division. And boy, don't you know, that door you went through right above it, they put a little sign up there and it said the door of no return. When you went through that door, that was it, buddy. It was lights out curtain. You were never going to see anything of your family, your homeland, or whatever. You went out that door probably in the middle of the night, And next thing you know, that ship was gone. So in the process of that, I think there were maybe 700 ships. I'm not sure about the number, but there were 700 ships that crashed. I mean, that sunk.
Wow.
And a number of them, I mean, and this was how many hundreds of years, over how many periods? So 700 probably is right. So what has happened as part of the reconciliation process, part of the reparations process, and I'm talking about the mentality of it, because there is some anger or some fear or some resentment and all this, and it kind of came out this week a little bit in those that felt like they didn't need to celebrate or mourn. I shouldn't use the word celebrate, but mourn. You're celebrating the life of the queen, but mourning her passing and all that. And they're like, well, she didn't do nothing to stop it. There still was a lot of stuff that went on in Africa in the past 70 years, and the Caribbean, and all these places that have been colonized. So this meeting, this thing you were seeing the pictures from, they have it's a heritage cultural tourism component that has all these other fibers and things woven into it about history, about how a government or people can offer some variations of reparations. It's not always necessarily a check, or some money, but yet you could fund the museum. So part of that was, and Epsi was the one that took me on it, we had a ceremony in Costa Rica to one of these shipwreck sites that was right off the coast of part of an area near Limon, Costa Rica, called Cajita. And I really didn't understand what was going on, but oh no, you got to go, come on down here. And I got there, and they had all these boats and these festive things with balloons and things on them, and these handed us these little packages with flowers and things in them. And we got in the boat, man. We went out to where the shipwreck was, and I mean they documented, it's mapped and it's charted, and there may or may not be any ruins down there, but what they do is they have a diver, and it's probably about 30 feet of water or something like that. It wasn't that far offshore, but maybe there was a storm or something. But what they did, when the ship ran into distress, they didn't unshackle the slaves. They didn't let them free at all. And so if you got however many people hitched up at the ankle and the neck to each other, and you got all the irons on you and things, you can't swim. You can't survive that. And so, there might be 700 people, I don't know, some a whole ship full of people that died, drowned out there when the thing ran up on the rocks. And I'm talking about, it was, a 5-10 minute ride by boat to where this place was. And so the diver goes down, he just certifies that it's the location and it's the right place. And then there is a ceremony to recognize, and I almost want to say liberate, the spirit of the slaves that died and were unrecognized.
And Chuck, I hate to cut you off, okay? But
I get into my stories.
But right now, there's some things going to take place in our country this coming week, okay? With the National Chamber of Commerce, a whole lot is taking place, and we can't for the next couple minutes try to bring us up to date on that like that.
Yeah, and I got to keep mindful of our time slot. On Tuesday, September 27th at 12 o'clock noon at the National Press Club, the National Black Chamber of Commerce and the National Business League are announcing a joint effort and a new program, a new project, a new organization that we're bringing together that is going to measure the disposition of black businesses and what is going on, what is really the whole scenario, like what Coffee was just talking about. That's our communities, and yet business is all part of it. She's talking about jobs, she's talking about education. That's workforce development. That is economic empowerment. That's who we are. That's what we do. And so we're having a press conference to announce it to the world that we're coming together and we're creating something new that is going to focus and dedicate attention to the welfare and the prosperity of Black communities. And that's coming about. And so we thought we were just having a few VIP folks and we wanted to know about it. And boy, don't you know, that thing filled up, sold out like quickly. And we got all kinds of folks still trying to get in, and we're like saying, we're not going to not let you in until the fire marshal cuts us off. But, you know, may not be able to sit down, or may well, but come on, we're going to do it all down by the river style. You know, come on in and get together. Wall to wall. That's right. That's right. And so, oh my goodness. So Epsie Campbell's in town for that, former Vice President of Costa Rica. The current Vice President of Colombia has sent her representatives, and she says she's planning to come and join and be part of it. This thing that this meeting, this door unification thing, is going to be part of that. And it's global. We've got folks coming from Africa. The African Union ambassador is coming. We've got the African Diaspora Union ambassadors going to be there. Our dear friend Jonathan Jackson, the son of Jesse Jackson, candidate for the 1st District, Congressional District of Illinois, which is Chicago. He'll be there. And a number of our government. The president, the top person at the World Bank is a woman. She's going to speak and give remarks. We've got folks coming from the MBDA, the SBA.
Folks, we got 3 minutes.
A lot of things going. So that is a big thing for this week with us.
Folks, we got 2 minutes.
Okay. Before I go any further, okay, I got to give you some credit again here. I don't know anybody that I know that's a Black man that has met as many heads of state, okay, as you have. We agree on that you are a global ambassador, okay? I mean, the places you've gone, your passport that you used up, and this gathering you put together this weekend, next week, okay? Can we all access that? You know, they're going to be broadcast.
It will definitely be recorded. I don't think it's going to be streamed, but we'll have a full report, and I'll let you know. And certainly, I will text you if something happens where there's a live feed or something.
Okay, now what else is going with you talk about right quick? We going to our website. Tell us about that.
Yeah, man. Stay tuned. Within the next few days, we're going to just go ahead and put our new website up, our live site. And it will include the Blockchain Academy, the American Dream Academy.
Right, yes.
And that's where I was thinking
I'm happy to say Blockchain Academy.
Yeah, Coffee and her folks. That's a place. Cause if you got a GED, we got some jobs for you, but you're going to have to get a little training for them. But you got certifications. Yeah, and these are jobs that pay over $100,000. Yeah.
By the way, I talked to Ryan this week, okay? And that is Blockchain Academy is having a second launch also. So this is all coming together in a very nice way.
Let me thank you for your undying support and encouragement to me and the team here with it. I get a lot of personal enrichment from having this opportunity to just talk to regular folks, that some of the guests on our show, and hear about their disposition. And it's a lot of folks that want to question and challenge you on your own house. Challenge you in your own place, in your own, and maybe not to come up in your yard, but just go ahead and challenge you. Why? Because you're just daring to breathe. Because you're daring to be who you are, doing what you do every day, feeding your family, and maybe helping some people. Well, so I appreciate your support, your encouragement, and allowing us to kind of make critical of each other. So anyway.
So on that note, Chuck, that was the perfect end of the program. Listen to Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio.com. I will say Chuck DeVoe was the CEO, the president, our leader of the National Chamber of Commerce.
Amen.
Yes, God, yes, we're up. My name is Alex.
Amen.
Thank you for joining the Lunch in Missouri Chicken Converse. We can be found on Facebook, YouTube, podcast, all of the different Lunch in Missouri Chicken Converse. It will be broadcast tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Again, on 1 o'clock on Wednesday. But life is good. Thank you for joining us. Again next week. God, we should be out by now.